in the process. So what I'm going to do with this, we have a look at this now, we now have all of these, this information is populated, and if we look at our image, I'll just come in here slightly, I'll untick this invert distortion, and that will put it back to its normal distortion. This is it, not non-distorted, and this is undistorted. So what it's done is it's stretched the image back out and taken into account the lens distortion. Now, this is actually quite important for this point cloud process, because if we don't do this, what we're going to be left with is not very flat surfaces. Now, this is a floor, and you would suggest that it is a very flat surface, but without doing this process, this actually turns out to be almost like a sort of a shallow bowl effect, because what you're going to get is actually a lens distortion out on the edges through the process. So I won't show you both alternatives, but I will show you the I'll show you how flat the surface is when we walk through this process. Now, next node is our camera tracker. We want to track the footage prior to doing our point cloud creation, and we want to really get the best out of this tracker as well. So I tend to do a couple of things, and by all means this is open to your own way of working, but this way has worked for me in the past fairly well. First thing we need to do is bring our lens information, our lens distortion information, into that camera tracker. So I like to use the Control Shift buttons and then click and drag this into the relative boxes that match in the lens tab. But first we need to just change this to known lens, and then we click and drag using the Control Shift. Once we've populated this, we will have the same amount of lens distortion being catered for in the tracking process. Now, what we don't need to do is leave this footage undistorted, because then you're getting two levels of distortion in the camera tracker. It's doing one level, and then we've got the distortion doing another. So rather than untick it, what I like to do is just switch it off as part of the process, and that way the camera tracker is not going to take that into consideration. So that's it for the lens section. As far as the camera is concerned, I use a series of presets that I've downloaded from the Nuke community, and you could certainly hunt those down through Nukepedia. It just means that up here I can click on my presets button here, and then I know this camera or this shot was shot with a Canon DSLR, and it was actually a 600D on video setting. And what that does is just populates the information relative to that camera. It's a very handy process, otherwise you have to either remember all these settings or you have to go hunting for them.